London Heathrow, 1965, a Pan American World Airways Boeing 707 taxis to the gate. The passengers disembark not in jeans and hoodies, but in tailored suits and couture dresses. They've just flown from New York, where they enjoyed 7 hours of uninterrupted luxury. Caviar appetizers, filet mignon cooked to order, French champagne poured into crystal, and cigarettes offered from silver cases. The ticket cost $5,000 in today's money, and nobody complained about the price. They celebrated the experience. This was the golden age of commercial aviation, a brief, glorious 15-year window when airlines didn't compete on who was cheapest, but who was most magnificent. In our main chapter, we saw how the jet age began, with technical triumphs and tragic lessons. Today, we explore what happened next. The period from 1958 to 1973, when commercial aviation reached its zenith of elegance, service, and sheer style. This wasn't just about getting from A to B. This was about how you arrived, who you met along the way, and what you experienced at 35,000 feet. Welcome to the Golden Age, when flying wasn't transportation, it was theater. The economics of elegance. To understand why airlines could offer such extravagance, you need to understand the regulatory environment. Before 1978, the Civil Aeronautics Board in the United States and similar bodies worldwide controlled everything. They set ticket prices, approved routes, and decided which airlines could fly where. Competition was illegal on price, so airlines competed on everything else: food, service, comfort, style. A first-class transatlantic ticket in 1965 cost about $600, equivalent to $5,800 today. But here's what that bought you: guaranteed empty seat beside you, load factors were capped at 55% on many routes, flight attendants outnumbering passengers in first class, and meals prepared by actual chefs in onboard kitchens. Airlines weren't just selling transportation, they were selling exclusivity, and they marketed it brilliantly. TWA's slogan, "Up, up, and away." Pan Am's world's most experienced airline, these weren't just taglines, they were promises of an elevated experience. Literally and figuratively, the aircraft as flying salons, the aircraft themselves were designed as flying embodiments of national pride and corporate identity. Let's step aboard 3 icons of the era. First, the Boeing 770 aircraft that defined the age. Its first-class cabin featured seats that converted into 6-foot sleeping berths on overnight flights. The rainbow interior design used vibrant colors and geometric patterns that screamed modern. On Pan Am's 707s, the upper deck lounge on aircraft so configured became the most exclusive social club in the sky. Then there's the Douglas DC-8, preferred by many airlines for its quieter cabin and smoother ride. United Airlines' red carpet service on DC-8 South featured swiveling sleeper seats in first class and a separate cloudroom lounge where passengers could mingle over cocktails. But perhaps the most luxurious was the Lockheed Constellation's final iteration, the L1649A Starliner. Its first class offered private sleeping compartments with actual beds, a downstairs lounge with a baby grand piano on some aircraft, and observation domes where passengers could watch the stars. These weren't machines, they were carefully curated environments where every element, from the carpet pattern to the seat fabric to the lighting, was designed to communicate one message: you are somewhere special. The standard service began before you reached the airport. Airlines offered complimentary limousine transfers for first-class passengers. At the terminal, you didn't stand in line, you were escorted to a private check-in desk. Often in airline-owned buildings that were architectural marvels. Sorenen's TWA Flight Center at JFK wasn't a terminalit, was a concrete sculpture celebrating flight. On board, the crew-to-passenger ratio was astonishing. On a typical Pan Am 707, there might be 12 flight attendants for 120 passengers, one for every 10, compared to today's one for every 50. Their training was extensive, 6-week programs covering everything from wine service, which vintages to emergency procedures to the psychology of calming nervous flyers. The food service was theatrical. Meals weren't reheated in plastic, they were cooked in full galleys with ovens and grills. Menus changed seasonally and were printed daily. On Air France, meals were designed by Michelin-starred chefs. On British Overseas Airways Corporation, BOAC, Afternoon tea service included scones with clotted cream and proper Darjeeling served from silver pots. Even the entertainment had analog elegance. On longer flights, airlines showed first-run movies on pull-down screens. Some carriers had live piano music in their lounges. All provided complimentary playing cards, stationery, and toiletry kits from luxury brands like Guerlain and Hermes. The airline identities: each airline cultivated a distinct personality that travelers could identify with. Pan Am was the sophisticated global citizen's blue globe logo promised access to every continent. Their flight attendants, known as stewardesses, wore uniforms designed by the likes of Don Loper and Edith Head, changing with the seasons. TWA was Hollywood glamour. Owned by Howard Hughes until 1966, it attracted celebrities and cultivated a star-studded image. Their uniforms, designed by Howard Greer, looked like they belonged on a movie set rather than an aircraft. Air France was unapologetically French haute cuisine, fine wines, and flight attendants who spoke perfect English but made you wish you spoke perfect French. Their Concorde service would later become the ultimate expression of this identity. BOAC was British reserve and reliability. Their Speedbird logo and restrained service style promised you'd arrive exactly as scheduled, with proper tea served along the way. Even smaller carriers developed distinct personalities. Braniff International shocked the industry. With its jelly-bean-colored aircraft and Pucci-designed uniforms that changed during flight, PSA in California made flying fun with mini-skirted stewardesses and onboard comedy. These weren't just transportation companies, they were lifestyle brands with devoted followers. The jet set lifestyle, the term jet set, was coined by journalist Igor Cassini in 1957 to describe a new international elite who lived their lives across continents, their calendar. Skiing in Gstaad in January, shopping in Paris in spring, summer in the Hamptons, autumn in London. The jet made this possible, and airlines catered specifically to this demographic. Celebrities became flying billboards. Frank Sinatra and his Rat Pack were famously loyal to TWA. When the Beatles first flew to America in 1964, they did so on Pan Am Flight 110 Choice. That was as much about image as logistics. Airlines courted them aggressively, offering private check-in, reserved seating, and sometimes entire rows. Fashion responded to this new mobility. Designers created travel suits in wrinkle-resistant fabrics. The stewardess look influenced mainstream fashion. The pillbox hat, Jackie Kennedy made famous, was adapted from airline uniforms. Louis Vuitton and Gucci created luggage specifically for air travel, recognizing that steamer trunks were obsolete. Magazines like Vogue and Harper's Bazaar regularly featured fashion shoots on aircraft. The November 1965 issue of Vogue featured model Jean Shrimpton photographed throughout a Pan Am 707, from cockpit to galley. The message was clear: flying was sophisticated, modern, and inherently glamorous. The infrastructure of glamour, the golden age, extended to the ground. Airports were designed as gateways to cities, not utilitarian hubs. Sorenen's TWA terminal at JFK had sunken conversation pits, dramatic wing-shaped roofs, and even an ambassador's club with private baths and daybeds. Airlines operated their own kitchens at major airports, where chefs prepared meals that were then loaded onto aircraft. Pan Am's flight kitchen at JFK could prepare 15,000 meals daily, with different menus for each destination to give passengers a taste of where they were going. The travel experience was seamless because it was controlled by a few players. Your ticket might include connecting flights on multiple airlines, but they all cooperated through the International Air Transport Association, IATA, which set global standards for everything from baggage allowances to meal service. This coordination created what we've lost today: the sense that travel was a curated experience from your front door to your hotel, with every detail considered and every need anticipated. The beginning of the end, the golden age, couldn't last. Several forces converged to end it. First, the 1973 oil crisis made fuel prices quadruple. Suddenly, lavish service became unaffordable. Airlines started removing galleys to add seats, switching from China to plastic, cutting back on food quality. Second, deregulation in 1978 changed everything. The Airline Deregulation Act in the U.S. removed government control over routes and fares. Suddenly, airlines competed on price, not service. The race to the bottom began. Third, technology changed expectations. Wide-body jets like the 747 could carry 400 passengers, impossible to provide personalized service at that scale. The focus shifted to efficiency, faster turnarounds, more seats, simpler service. Finally, security concerns changed the experience fundamentally. Hijackings in the 1970s led to locked cockpit doors, security screenings, and eventually the post-9/11's security theater we know today. The casual, welcoming airport experience disappeared behind X-ray machines and pat-downs. Legacy and nostalgia, so what remains of the golden age, surprisingly, quite a lot. The international first-class products of today: Emirates private suites, Singapore Airlines double beds, Qatar's Quaisar, direct descendants of 1960s luxury, just with modern technology and even more privacy. The airline alliance system Star Alliance, SkyTeam, recreates the seamless global network that Pan Am pioneered. Frequent flyer programs are the modern equivalent of being a regular known to the crew. But perhaps the most important legacy is cultural. The Golden Age created our modern expectation that air travel should be special. It's why we still get excited about flying, why airport bars serve overpriced champagne, why we dress up for important trips. That sense of occasion, that feeling that you're participating in something extraordinary, that was the Golden Age's greatest gift. The Golden Age of commercial aviation lasted barely 15 years, from the first 707th service in 1958 to the oil crisis of 1973. In that brief window, flying represented the pinnacle of mid-century optimism, elegant, sophisticated, and endlessly promising. It was an era when the journey was as important as the destination, when airlines weren't just transportation companies but ambassadors of national culture and style. While passengers enjoyed champagne at 35,000 feet, engineers were already working on the next revolution, an aircraft so large it would make this luxury available to millions. The age of the jumbo jet was coming.